Okay, a testing of sound. Here's a bass line. Windows are open. You can hear the chimes. Excuse me, Wilma. You can see here the dog sniffing the camera. First sound. This is a Hewlett-Packard ProCurve switch. This is something you can likely hear. Second sound. Will come from these servers in front of you. They will require electricity. This will be plugged in. Recording. That's the sound of one. PowerEdge 2850 starting. Let's turn that off. What you may not realize is that there's another fan running that's coming from the servers. As a distinction, I've turned off the fan, or turned off the Hewlett-Packard ProCurve switch. I've just turned these off. So there's a certain standby level of sound. Again, the sound of a Hewlett-Packard ProCurve switch. And the sound of these servers when their power supplies are running their standby fan. It's a little deceptive because this one computer, this server is set to power on once power is restored. But with some of the same background noises, dogs walking about, wind chimes, you get a sense. Excuse me, Harriet. You can come on by. The sound of the standby fans. Good girl. So then this is the sound of a Hewlett-Packard. This is the sound which I believe I still have plugged in. This is the sound of an HP and this Dell 2850. This is the sound of two HP ProLiant DL380s. And this is the sound of a Dell PowerEdge 2650, 2850, and two HP ProLiant DL380s. Because these drives or these computers, well, not a preferred way to shut down, but nothing's running an active operating system at this moment. This is now the sound of two HP ProLiant DL380s. Each of these boxes is safe to shut down as well, other than forming a hard drive sink. So now we're back to the standby level of the fans within the power supplies of these servers running. This wasn't the ideal time, but now other than the sound of a jet, there is no sound here. Stand by. Standby sound is the sound of the fans in each server chassis. One DL380, two DL380s. Each of these machines are booting and then seeking to boot from a DHCP server. So I'm comfortable with the power down. The sound of two Dells, 2850 and 2650. sound attenuates as demand is loaded to the CPUs, or as the BIOS and the chassis dictates could grow. Power these down. And again, back. Seem to have chosen flyover time. One thing to observe for you though is as each of these servers and cooling, or as each of the servers and the HP ProCurve switch have been turned on, that's the sound of the ProCurve switch. That's without the sound of the ProCurve switch. That's no standby sound from each of the servers. Keep in mind though that throughout this one box has been running. This is my newest and future design for servers and chassis. While the form factor is still a bit large, this is a dual core CPU, 4 gigs of RAM, a ½ terabyte of RAID storage, burning on average, let's see, 62 watts of electricity. It uses a energy efficient CPU, power supply, etc., etc. So certain factors count there. Is final contrast for electricity. Let me show you that on standby. Excuse me, on standby, these servers are using 16 watts, 17, 16. Let's look at the incremental increase from the servers. Standby. Stack of 4, 63 watts. Standby or running 2 or 1 HP DL380. $290, 300 watts. About 240 watts. And varying above the benchmark of approximately 60 for standby mode. Two 380s, DL 380s. Let's look at the two Dells. Spinning fewer hard drives, but noticeably more efficient. Energy use here is skewed by the fact that the two Hewlett-Packards each have 6 hard drives. The second Dell server has 5 hard drives. Top Dell server off. Middle Dell server off, or bottom Dell server off. What can we eliminate in standby mode? This is the sound of only 2 of the servers in standby mode. Still burning, or were burning, about 30 watts. This is one server again, burning 60 watts. While running. That concludes the sound demonstration. The players, the kilowatts, and some of the environmental noise.